Thank you, Loie. So folks, I'm going to explain to you how it seems to be national policy now to get us to electrified transportation. And that's where a lot of the emission reductions are going to come from. And that's where a lot of the bill savings are going to come from, because it's cheaper to run a car on electricity than on gasoline. Then Loie explained that it seems to be policy now to electrify buildings and heat with heat pumps and so forth. And so let's now talk about how we're going to make sure that we have a good, strong, clean electric grid. So according to the U.S. Department of Energy, we've got about 240 million solar panels in existence in the United States. And in 2030, we're going to have 4 times that many. That's pretty exciting. A lot of people love solar. You're going to see a lot more of it because of the Inflation Reduction Act. Next slide. Battery storage. We love seeing wind and solar, and there's so many benefits to them. They're renewable, they're clean, and they're getting better all the time. But there are times when we are going to need battery storage. Battery storage has improved technologically at an amazing rate. And so right now you can see in 2021, we didn't have a whole lot, and we're going to have a lot in 2030, big, huge increase as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. We'd be moving along with current policies, but the Inflation Reduction Act more than doubles our commitment to battery storage. Wind turbines. This is showing how many wind turbines will be operating. We're going to be more than doubling our production of wind turbines throughout the United States because of the Inflation Reduction Act. So we like, that's just, you're going to see that throughout the entire country. Next slide. Just another way to look at it, same information really from a different source, showing on the left-hand side, the orange section is how much more solar that is. I believe that's 35% as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. On the right-hand side, that increment that's onshore wind is coming about as a result of the act. So it's about a 50% increase. The tax credits that have come into play, Loie talked about the residential solar tax credits, but in addition, there's a renewable energy production tax credit of $51 billion. It's going to go to wind and solar and other resources. A clean electricity investment tax credit of $51 billion. And again, they're going to be at 30% until 2032. Then it ramps down, but not out, 26% in 2033, 24% in 2035. That gives it all of us, consumers and project developers and the manufacturers of these materials to plan. We've got all this time, and so we can be more aggressive. And what we're very excited about is they're going to bring in what's called direct pay for tax exempt entities. Nonprofits and municipalities have been unable to take advantage of these tax credits. The way they've been written over the years, you have to have a tax liability in order to get that 30% value. But now nonprofits like Green Energy Consumers Alliance and your city and town and the state government will be able to directly invest in a project and get those hefty tax credits. And what we're really excited about is the bottom bullet. There's a 20% bonus tax credit if the project is located in a low-income community or benefits low-income people. So we're really talking about a 50% tax credit for certain projects. We can easily envision solar projects in a low-income community or benefiting low-income people and getting a 50% tax credit, plus state incentives at the Massachusetts and Rhode Island levels. And you can even see that happening with wind projects and offshore wind projects. Next slide. So speaking of offshore, one company called Rystad questioned whether or not there'd be enough supply of wind turbine installation vessels to take full advantage of the tax credits to put out more offshore wind projects. I'm not sure they're correct on that. I just wanted to put it out there. However, I want to point out Massachusetts and Rhode Island already have committed to several projects that are under development right now. The first one coming online in a big way will be Vineyard Wind in about, I think, a year and a half. And then we've got Revolution Wind, we've got Mayflower Wind, and several more. Both states have recently committed to procuring more wind power. So now we've got this Inflation Reduction Act that gives us reasons to accelerate our commitment to offshore wind and get a hold of these hefty tax credits. Next slide. Transmission is very important to both states. It's kind of complicated to transmit the power from offshore wind to the load centers where we use all our electricity along I-95, but it can be done. That is a shorter stretch of wire than where we get a lot of our power right now, certainly from Canada or from New York or from Maine. And so there's $2 billion in there in transmission loans. And then what I know that Senator Markey pushed was $100 million to help planning on an interregional basis. Want to give a shout out to Senator Markey and Senator Whitehouse of Rhode Island, Senator Warren of Massachusetts, and Senator Reed of Rhode Island. They plus the congressional delegations were really strong supporters of the Inflation Reduction Act, and their work is embedded throughout the entire act. They had a lot of good ideas that got kept. So that's not a huge commitment to transmission in the big picture, but we'll be in a position to benefit from it.